What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Luke Shen. So if you're new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Lots of Leafs content coming up and lots already on the channel, so make sure to go and check those out. So today's going to be a fun video. More news and rumors coming. Again, we're getting closer to the NHL draft. We're getting closer to free agency. So a lot of fun stuff is happening, so make sure to stick around. So, basically, we're going to be talking about the potential signing of a defenseman, what that could mean for the entire blue line, and whether or not Luke Shen would be worth the money. Is he going to want to come back? There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of things that we need to go through. But what I need people to do is relax a little bit, because the biggest thing on Twitter is why is Brad Treliving not done anything? We're gonna walk these guys to free agency. Where's the Matthews rumors? Where's the Nylander contract? First of all, those Matthews and Nylander can't even sign an extension until July 1st. They still have a whole year left on their deal, so they can't even sign an extension until July 1st. So don't worry about that. But when it comes to free agents, and more specifically Luke Shen, which we're going to be talking about in this video, the Leafs can sign him at any time because technically he is still property of the Maple Leafs until July 1st. Now, it wouldn't make any sense for Brad Treliving to just walk in and gift a contract until he figures out what he wants to do. Because, again, he is a brand new GM to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, he might know the team. He's probably studied the team. He's probably had some sleepless nights lately trying to figure out what he's going to do because time's ticking. But he can't just make everything happen right away. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. And the reason why we're talking about Shen has been because there's been a few rumors leading up to free agency in the draft in the last couple weeks. And one of them came from the Hockey News, specifically Rick Dollywall from the Donnie and Dolly show, basically talking about the Leafs and Shen talking. Now, Shen is obviously going to get a well-deserved bump in pay, but he's obviously going to look for some term, no surprise there, and some trade protection after bouncing around so much for the last few years. Now, there's obviously some talk here about what they traded for and what he's done with the Leafs, but let's really talk about that. Shen came in, he was physical, a little scrappy, can do a bit of everything, and in the playoffs, I actually think he played well. And for a guy that was supposed to be a depth defenseman, ended up playing with Morgan Rielly quite a lot. And that's something that he did in Vancouver, playing with Hughes. And it just looks like Luke Shen is a guy that you can play in your top four when you need him to for long stretches. And if he did play for the Leafs, I would imagine that, or if he did come back to the Leafs, I would imagine that they would probably try to put him with Morgan Rielly again. Now, the reason why this is a little bit of a tough challenge is because if he wants a raise, then he's going to be looking from anywhere to 1.5 to the $2.5 million range. Now, people might be like, oh my God, that's a lot of money. But for teams that need a guy that's physical, that can protect younger players or just protect your star players and can give you solid minutes and put a few points up here and there and play decent defensively, Luke Shen is probably going to get, a nice little paycheck, a nice little raise. But the Leafs have to play this differently, and I think people aren't going to agree with me, but I think the Leafs need to offer Luke Shen 3 years if they want to keep him to a lower number, because I'm not sure how many teams are going to be willing to give him more than 2 years, and I think that the sweet spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs might be 3 years. Now, another note I want to go on here is at Leafs Network _ on Twitter tweeted out some notes from the 32 Thoughts podcast saying that Luke Shen and the Leafs were close to a contract extension last week, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Treliving is juggling a lot of things right now. He's still talking to Shen and his camp. And then he mentioned something about William Nylander. But being close to a contract extension, but not being close anymore, makes me think that Luke Shen might be looking towards the open market. There might be word that his agent got that teams could be interested in his services and that his money would be higher than what the Leafs are offering, which is very fair and very possible. But if I'm the Maple Leafs, I'm looking to see if you put an extra year instead of just 2 years, if you give him that third year, if he would take a decrease in terms of pay. Now, what I want to show you guys here is just a rough estimate of what the Leafs cap situation could look like before they make any moves. Now, you'll see I've given Luke Shen $1.5 million. Now, that could be too much, might be too little. But if you get Luke Shen, you can put him with Morgan Riley. You can have McCabe and Brody. And you'll have Giordano and Liljegren and Timmins. Now, that's 7 defensemen. The Leafs could go into this season with those guys, or they could acquire another defenseman, which I do believe they will. Probably a guy that can play in the top 4, but also just makes sense in the bottom pair. So that way the depth is good. I believe they'll probably look to bury Connor Timmins or trade him, so that'll free up a little bit of money. But if they sign Shen, they still need some placeholders here, but I do believe Matt Murray will be traded. So if you put him on LTIR, that will open up that cap space and show you what they might have. So $18 million even with signing Luke Shen. So even if you give him that 1.5 or even a 1.7, which I think would be too much money, you could still add, a goaltender, which I do believe that, if you re-sign Ilya Samsonov, he's not going to be the 4.6 that Matt Murray had. So let's just say Matt Murray is Ilya Samsonov. That still gives you $13 million, right? So you can still address 4 players here. You can still address another defenseman if you really need to. But like I said, I think that it's going to be Ilya Samsonov's number is going to come in under $4 million. And then you can, do whatever you need to do. But in terms of Luke Shen, like I said, I like his physicality. He's near the top, if not the top, when it comes to just laying hits. And I do believe that having Luke Shen for experience and for eating minutes is always a good thing. I think the Leafs could move him down the lineup as well if you acquire another top 4 defenseman. If you got a guy, I know they were talking about maybe trading for Hannafin. That would be a massive package that they would have to put together. If they, got like a Carson Soucy, or, if they traded for or signed a Matt Dumba or something like that. Like it makes no sense to get Dumba, in my opinion. But you know what I'm saying. If they acquire more defensemen, it obviously would put Luke Shen lower in the lineup, which maybe would benefit him. But I think that the Leafs should bring back Luke Shen. I'm a fan of his, but just being a fan of him isn't the reason why I think they should bring him back. Like I said, that physicality and that big presence that he has back there, eating minutes, being able to play with Morgan Riley, being able to fill a depth role. He didn't even play every single game. He played more towards the end there in the playoffs. But you're going to need that stability, and they need more right-handed shot defensemen. So I think it makes sense. I believe that they should definitely re-sign him. They don't have a lot of time left, and there's probably going to be a lot of teams that are interested. I just hope that the way that he was talking about the team and the way that he sounded like he might want to come back would allow him to come back, but it has to be at a reasonable number. And I would keep Timmins around, but if you have to give Shen a little bit more money than you think he's worth, I would bury him or trade him as well. Just get out of that contract, save yourself $1.1 million, and basically just say you're giving it to Luke Shen plus the money that he signs for. So I don't know. I think it would be worth it for him to come back. I want you guys to comment down below. Tell me if you think Luke Shen is going to come back and for how much. And would you want to bring him back? Again, that's the other thing. Like, there's going to be people that maybe don't even want him back on this team. But let me know. Sound off in the comments down below. If you're new here, like, subscribe, join the squad. Love to have you guys here. Recommend more videos, what you guys want me to talk about. But there's going to be a ton of content coming. You guys know that. This is my bread and butter. So rumors, trade stuff, everything coming. I told you guys I got lots coming for you. I love and appreciate you guys as always. Let me know about Luke Shen down in the comments. Peace.